I've seen Rocky several times mention that weavers have a little leeway in thread count. What does this do when there's a tartan like Firefighter Memorial, where thread count is specifically representing something?
Yep. What he's referring to is when you give a mill a thread count and you say, hey, I want this, here's the thread count, and you give them, and they put it into their CAD design to get ready for weaving. If the let's say the selvage edge ends on a stripe and they don't want it to, they'll kind of adjust the thread count a little bit proportionately one way or the other to make it kind of end where they want it to end, center on the line they want it to center on. They'll adjust it for the set size to be, 6.8, not 6.5, depending on what the customer wants. Some tartans have meaning in the thread count. So, for instance, our Firefighter Memorial, which he alluded to, has as one of the pivots 343 red lines in one of the pivots in the tartan. And what we do is we tell the mill, okay, hey, we're going to weave the Firefighter Memorial. Please adjust the thread count so that the set size is 8 inches or 7.5 inches or whatever. But in doing that, don't touch these 3 numbers. Leave the 343 exactly as it is, because that has significance, and it's not so big of a section that it's going to really affect the overall look of the design and things like that. A tartan really is does it look like the tartan from 10 feet kind of mindset when the mill is weaving. Royal Stewart from one mill is going to look, they may have a slightly wider red section or a slightly narrower red section from another mill, just based on the mill's particular preference or the weaver's preference and that kind of thing. Does it look like it? Do you recognize it as the design, or is it so far off that it's something different? It's akin to copyright kind of thing. Does it look 10% different, or is it close enough? Like, how does it look? So that's how we would do it with a thread count for a tartan that has a specific design, or our law enforcement has 72 black threads for the 72 law enforcement officers that died on 9/11 as well. And those are in the black bands, the 2 black, bars, and those will stay the same. The field of blue might get, a 1/4 inch bigger or a 1/4 inch smaller. That is of little consequence as long as it stays blue. But the thread count of the black section is what matters. So it's really just a close enough from one mill to the next kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and is the weight of the material, is that going to factor into that too, or no? Or is that just...
Yes and no. It's good point. The weight of the material, if it's the thread count is the exact same. So there's across the entire thread, the entire design, let's say there's 268 threads. It's coming up with a number. 268 threads of 16 ounce yarn versus 268 threads of 13 ounce yarn is going to be a little bit narrow or a little bit smaller in the 13 ounce, a little bit bigger in the 16 ounce. So if you want the set size to remain the same, using again Firefighter Memorial for the example, I would probably shrink the red section a little bit and leave the 343 just as it is, or shrink everything proportionately by 5%, 10%, whatever, but leave the 343. So be honest in the comments, guys. Did you know that you can have the same tartan as long as you're adjusting the thread count proportionately? Let us know. If you want to see other videos of us talking about different tartans in Scotland and different mills in Scotland, check out this playlist over here.